Well, hey, America, how are you? Happy Labor Day weekend. Lovely to see you again. I know I'm late. I'm sorry. I sat right here in this very spot yesterday, right here, with every intention of reading a story to you, as we do every Saturday morning. But you know what happened? Everything. Every bad thing that can happen happened. Circumstances conspired to keep us from our aforementioned rendezvous in ways that I have seldom seen. I had printer problems. Couldn't get the printer to work. I couldn't get the story printed. And by the time I finally did, it was starting to get late, and I came up here to make a pot of coffee, and coffee maker's broken. Couldn't have. I can't read a story without a cup of coffee. You know that. It's basic. And then I had lighting problems because it got so late in the day. The light came streaming in here in a weird way, and it messed up the picture. And then I had other technical issues. I'm constantly having technical problems with this thing. So yeah, I began to become convinced that the universe didn't want me to read you a story yesterday, and rather than embark upon some quixotic quest and push that massive boulder up the metaphorical hill, I simply said, "Oh, okay, you know what? I quit. I quit. I'm not proud of it, but I quit, and I'm not proud of the fact now that on a Labor Day weekend I'm recounting this whole thing in a way that sounds as though I'm making excuses. Is there anything more pathetic than the sound of a grown man making excuses for the fact that his job performance has suddenly taken a somewhat dismal turn? I don't think so. And yet, that's precisely what I find myself doing now, and precisely what happened to me yesterday. But today is another day, and with Labor Day upon us, I thought perhaps a story of a man who doesn't make excuses might be just the thing to share. Can we do that? Of course we can, but not until I thank Jalinda March for paying $500 for this portrait of my dog Freddie. The money goes right to the Mike Rowe Foundation. Thank you, Jalinda. You also get that ratty bathrobe I was wearing on the day in question, the one I stole from the Oceana Hotel. I'll autograph that if you'd like. Let my office know if you also want the dog to autograph his portrait. I can make that happen. And if you want the robe laundered, let me know. Some people, oddly, don't. I'm not here to judge or cast aspersions. I'll wash the damn thing personally. I'll pound it on a rock right out there by the bay if that's what you'd like, or not. It's really up to you. As you can tell, I'm still wrestling with some of the residual Strom and Drang from my crucible that I went through yesterday as I attempted to read this story to you, and which I'm going to do now, and it's all going to be fine. I do need to mention this, though.
You think a chip on the shoulder's bad? I got one shoved up my butt.
This is my talking bobblehead. That's Freddie the dog. It says somebody's got to do it there. We've been raising money for years now selling these things, and my buddy over at bobbleheads.com has just cut us an extra break. Enter in Freddie 20, Freddy 20.
Let me see if I got this right.
And yeah, you got a 20% discount off of this bobblehead or anything else they've got over there at bobbleheads.com.
You are some kind of wacky chick.
Anyway, so I'm just throwing a lot at you right now because I'm determined. I am determined to read you this story for this Labor Day because I think you're going to like it. Are you ready? Then let's do it, shall we? It's called Donnie's Secret. Donnie's Secret. Donnie had a secret, and it was a doozy. The year was 1977, and the 43-year-old Marine sat alone in the darkened theater, weeping quietly as he watched his favorite scene from his favorite movie unfold on the big screen. For 25 years, Major Dunnigan had managed to keep his fellow Marines in the dark, but now his secret was in jeopardy because Disney had just re-released Bambi. If you're not up to speed with 65-year-old timeless classics, Bambi is the animated story of a young fawn who faces great adversity growing up in the forest. In the movie's pivotal scene, Bambi's mother is shot dead by a hunter. Shocked and paralyzed with grief, Bambi collapses in a heap of inconsolable loss. There he would have likely remained, but for his father, the prince of the forest, who towered above the young fawn and spoke the words that his grieving son most needed to hear. "Bambi," he said, "get up. You must get up." Donnie probably wasn't the first grown man to weep at the trials and tribulations of a talking deer, but he was certainly the most unlikely. 25 years earlier, straight out of boot camp, Donnie became the youngest drill sergeant in the history of the Corps. His unique ability to turn boys into men and men into Marines was simply unmatched. But Donnie was more than a tough teacher. He was a tough soldier. In Vietnam, under withering fire, Donnie ran into an enemy position to retrieve a wounded radio man. He was awarded the Bronze Star for that. During another battle, Donnie pulled a dead Viet Cong soldier out of the mud, only to learn that his enemy was far from dead. A hidden bayonet plunged deep into Donnie's gut. He received the Purple Heart for that one. It wouldn't be his last. It was Donnie's personal toughness that inspired frightened men to follow him straight through the gates of hell, and in 1968 those gates were opened wide. The Tet Offensive was launched with terrible fury, and Donnie was in the thick of it. The fighting was fierce and hand-to-hand. Donnie gave as good as he got, and what he got was all kinds of agony. A bullet hole in his left knee, another one in his head, another one in the scrotum. Could it get much worse? Sure, it can always get worse. A grenade landed nearby, shrapnel in the belly. A mortar exploded overhead, more shrapnel, this time in his stomach and lungs. Donnie lay on the ground, racked with unimaginable pain, and came to terms with what was surely the end of his life. But his mind was not yet done with his shattered body. It was then that Donnie recalled the words burned into his memory as a child. Get up, Bambi. You must get up. And just like that, the 33-year-old Marine got up. Not because he was inspired by Bambi. No, Donnie got up because he was Bambi. You see, long before he became one of the toughest warriors in the Marine Corps, little Donnie Dunnigan provided the voice and the face for the most famous faun in cinematic history. That was Donnie's secret. And whenever he watched Bambi struggling to get up on the big screen, he didn't see an animated faun struggling with grief. He saw himself struggling to survive. And when he heard the words of his animated father, he wasn't hearing lines from a screenplay. No, he was hearing the advice that would ultimately save his life. Get up, Bambi. You must get up. Donnie spent 25 years in the Marines. He earned 13 promotions, 3 Purple Hearts, a Bronze Star, and retired with the rank of Major. And somehow, during all those years, he kept his childhood claim to fame a secret. But now the cat was out of the bag, because sitting there in that darkened theater back in 1977, Donnie realized this new version of Disney's timeless masterpiece contained something the original didn't have. Credits. When Major Dunnigan saw his real name up there on the big screen, he knew that teasing would be merciless. And he was right. But happily, the 81-year-old Marine has since embraced the secret of his youth. And today, Donnie Dunnigan is delighted to hear the 2 words wherever he goes. The same 2 words he once dreaded back when he wore the uniform. Major Bambi. Anyway, that's the way I heard it. You know what I'm saying? I mean, really, how sorry can you feel for yourself when Donnie Dunnigan is still out there, probably 82 now, probably, the voice in the face of Bambi. He's probably not complaining about anything at all. To recap, Freddie 20 gets you a discount off this.
Well, that's just disappointing.
And then the other thing you might find at bobbleheads.com. A portion of the proceeds go to help out Mike Rowe Works and work ethic scholarships. Oh, one other thing. Happy Labor Day.